Pteridophyta, Talophyta. Mm? All right. So now, Talophyta. So that's Spermatophyta. Then we have Gymnospermy and so now under this concept, Talophyta. Under Talophyta, we have two organisms involved, which are the algae, the green algae, and um, Bryophyta. So the green algae is a microorganism found under this kingdom Plantae. And one feature of this organism is that it has chlorophyll. Hello? Please look up. One feature of this organism is that it has chlorophyll, which makes it able to do what? Photosynthesize, being a plant. So generally, organisms under this classification are able to what? Photosynthesize. Do we get it? Alright. So now Bryophyta is another organism under this Plantae that is bound under this Talophyta. So now Bryophyta is a bit more advanced than green algae. An example of Bryophyta I gave you was what? Moss and liverworts, Abi. So these were the two examples of Bryophyta, of organisms under this Bryophyta. Now, moss and liverworts, you can put ES, mosses and liverworts, actually don't have true roots. Are we getting it? They are under this kingdom, but they are one of the most primitive organisms under this kingdom. The most primitive is this green algae. It can come out in your exam. The most primitive organism under the kingdom Plantae is, they will give you options. So if you see green algae, please go for it, because it is the most primitive in what we have here. Now, Bryophyta has two examples, mosses and liverworts. Bryophyta is another primitive organism, but it's a bit advanced compared to what? Green algae. Are we getting it? Now, something that makes it primitive, and you can't compare it to other plants that you see, like the plants outside, is that it does not have true roots. What it have, it's called rhizome. What it has as the root is called rhizome. And rhizome cannot perform all the functions of a root. What rhizome can do is only to help it attach itself to a substrate. That is, it enables this organism to attach itself towards a substrate like the soil or humus, anyone. So it gives it that stamina, but it cannot help it towards absorb water. It does not absorb water from the soil. It does not absorb other mineral salt. So that is why we don't regard it as a true root. So call it rhizome. Now the same thing. No, this is under bryophyta. So the same thing happens with liverworts. So generally, bryophyta lacks what? True roots. Are we there? They also lack true stems. Now, bryophyta as well has chlorophyll. So they can undergo photosynthesis. I'm giving you characteristics of this kingdom, this class, under this kingdom, so that I take note of it. Alright, now having mentioned that, we advance to this pteridophyta. This P is not pronounced. Why pronouncing the word? It's pteridophyta. Now, pteridophyta is another class of organism under this kingdom, Plantae. Now, organisms that fall under this pteridophyta are actually stable, in the sense that they can be regarded as true plants. They have true stems, they have true rhizome. Sorry, this time around it's not rhizome, it's roots. So they have true roots, they have true stems, and they have true leaves. Did we get it? Okay, so now pteridophyta also have example of organisms that fall under it, and that is fern. If I remember any other one, I'll mention it again. So we have ferns. Pteridophyta is the first group of organism under this kingdom that has true roots. So the most primitive organism under the kingdom Plantae that possesses true roots, true stem, and true leaves is what? Pterido. The most primitive organism under this kingdom Plantae is what? Green algae, which is encompassed under what? Pteridophyta. But now, something that I should take note of is that this is the most primitive that possesses true roots, true stems, and what? True leaves. Then, this is the most primitive of it all, in the sense that it does not possess true roots, true stems, and true what? Leaves. Alright, having mentioned that, then we'll come over to spermatophyta. Now, spermatophyta basically means that they are seed-producing plants. You know, everything that is living is regarded as organism. Abi? Even plants is regarded as organism. So whenever I mention organism, just know that I'm regarding something that is living. So now, this organism here bears the name because it produces seeds. Are we there? So now, these gymnospermae actually produce seeds. But what makes it different from this angiosperm is that this one produces seeds that do not have a covering. That is, they bear their seeds on what we call cones. Cones. This is gymnospermae. The class is gymnospermae. Then the organism that falls under it is gymnosperm. You just stop here. So gymnosperms actually produce seeds, but the seeds they produce do not have covering. Which means that, please let me do marker. Which means that it is born on a cone. This is spelling of the cone. So I think some of you would have seen there's this economic plant that bears black seed. when it bears the black seed, it's as if the black seed is splitted. It doesn't fruit. You can't eat the fruit. The fruit is not edible. Hello? Something like this thing outside. But the one I'm talking about bears seeds. But that seed is naked. Like there's no covering, just like a mango. Before you see the seed of mango, you have to eat the bark, Abi? Yes. But this plant bears its seed direct without any covering. Some regard it as naked seed. What it bears the seed on is called cone. So they are also regarded as conifers. They are also regarded as conifers. So I think an example of this that I'm trying to recall, I think we have Cycas, Abi? Cycas. Even though I don't know what the organism looks like. There is D. Where? Here. Please confirm the spelling. Can you recall any other example? Ginkgos, yeah. Ginkos. So we don't really see this plant much in this part of our world. You see it mostly in the western regions. Even though we have some of them, like in my school, the school I schooled in, we had that plant I was talking about that bears black seed that is not enclosed in anything. Now, coming to angiosperms. When we talk about angiosperms, remember all these things are under this spermatophyta. So they can ask you which of these is a spermatophyte. Which of these is a spermatophyte? And they will give you examples of organisms. Maybe in the list of the organisms, they will not mention gymnosperm. Now, gymnosperms are what? Spermatophytes. So that becomes the word, the answer. Now, angiosperms are also seed-bearing plants, but they bear their seed enclosed. That is, their seed is covered, some by fibrous materials like coconut. You know coconut now? Does it bear the seed naked? No. Fibrous materials would enclose the seed. So that when you want to get the seed, you have to go through that fibrous closure. So now, under this particular one, it is further splitted into monocots and dicots. Am I too fast? No. Alright. So under this one, it is further splitted into monocots and dicots. Now, the class, like when they say class, monocot is the plant or the organism. I don't know if you are getting it. But the class is Monocotyledone. And then monocot, this is where we stopped while pronouncing as per the organism. But if you are talking about the class, then you have to complete it. The same thing happens with dicots. So have monocots here and dicots. So please, between these two organisms, which of them is the most advanced? Dicots. You are wrong. It's monocots. I actually argued it when we are preparing for exams. But at the end, we found out that monocot is the most advanced. Yes, monocot is the most advanced. I don't really know why. That's the funny part. Yeah. I actually tried finding out the reason. but the reason was not that clear. So they were just tracing to the genealogy. They said that this one is more primitive. Why? That this one is more advanced. That was just it. That monocots, the structure of a monocot plant is more advanced than dicot. Then what I was arguing it to the AI, I was like, but dicots have the ability to grow larger. Hope we know that. The size of a monocot plant is highly what? Limited. Just like your corn, and corn is maize. Your which other plant is a monocot? Guinea corn. You talk about most plants that we handle are actually dicots, like groundnut. Most of these big plants. Hey, we also know that palm tree is a monocot, Abi. You don't know? Palm tree is a monocotyledonous plant. And I think this Iroko. What does Iroko tree produce? Eh? Hello? What does Iroko tree produce? Eh? Nothing. Where is it mostly located? No. Close to a water side. So now, how do we identify monocot plants? Eh? Why is it that when you see in a plant, you can say this plant is a monocot? One seed leaf. How do you see one seed leaf? Eh? Someone should help me now. We know they have one seed leaf. She? They have narrow leaves. That is one example. Now, what kind of leaf does Iroko tree have? Do you see it look like this? Eh? And then maybe it's now be veined this way. Is it like that? She is something narrow. So once you see it narrow, just take note that it is what? A monocot. Are we there? Eh? The same thing happens with palm tree. Someone is saying no. You've seen palm tree before, but now that's the frond, because that's what we call the leaves. The frond is what you used to do what? To make your broom. Shebi, you see how long it is and narrow. So whenever you see any plant that bears that nature, take note that that plant is what? Monocotyledonous. Is a monocot. Another thing that you will observe in that plant is that the veins is parallel. If you get granite leaf, or you get the leaf of that plant outside, thank you. Look at this parallel. Look at it, Auntie. Take a look at it. It has a narrow leaf. Now, if you want to check out a dicot, you go for those plants that have broad leaves, like maybe your tomato leaf. Mention them. Many plants do have it, and I can see one outside now. So if you bring it, it's broad. Pawpaw has it as well. So it has this kind of shape. It's not narrow. If you check out the leaf of corn is what? Narrow, abi? And it has parallel veins. But the leaf of dicots are broad. So they don't have broad. Alright, ask. Mango. Mango is a dicot. Yeah. Hmm? Not that is not the only thing you're looking at. So you also look at the root system of that plant. Huh? Trachyophyta. Trachyophyta is what covers this and this. Yes, Trachyophyta is the general name that covers this and this. Is this E? It's A, Abi. So Tracheophyta is the name that covers this pteridophyte, just like this Talophyta covers green algae and bryophyta. So it's this Tracheophyta that covers pteridophyte and stromatophyte. You are clear? Now, you are not just looking at the leaf. You're also looking at the root system. Now, it's true that mango has a kind of narrow leaf. You get? But if you look at the root system, you see that it has taproot system. It has main roots. That's what it basically means. If you get to the root of corn, you see that there is no particular one that you can point at and say this is the main root. But if you see a mango growing, at a point, uproot it and you see that there is a main root, and then the others will now be what? Branching. So, you first of all look at the leaf, you look at the root system. So, we can learn from this lesson today that dicots have what? Taproot system. While monocots have what? Fibrous root system. Are we clear? Alright, having mentioned that, now, another characteristics of this monocot is that it has one seed leaf. It has one seed leaf. Monocot. While dicots have two seed leaves. Now, when you plant a groundnut, hello? I know some of you have never entered farm before. But just imagine it. At least you must have seen it in one Nollywood movie or something. So, if you plant a groundnut, for that groundnut to grow, it has to come from a particular part of the seed, that thing that you're planting. I doubt if I will get the diagram more. But a groundnut seed looks somehow like this, but somehow now, yes, because I know that it's 2, some are 3, then you now have the what? Thank you. Some of you have not tasted it. It's on sale. You go outside, you buy one and see. So, now, if you get this seed, inside the structure of a seed, this has 2 divisions, 2 main divisions. Yes. You will still handle it. When you come to... Okay, I think we will talk about this. But not now. I just want to point out something. So now, this is where your stem, your shoot will be coming from. Why this is where your root will be what? Coming from. So there is a term for it. But we are not in the concept yet. I will talk more about it when we start dealing with types of seeds and the way they grow. So please, look at the board. Look at the board. Now, the shoot is not just going to come out that way. It's going to come out with the what? The cotyledon. You know, we have what we call hypogeel, hypergeel and what? Epigeel germination. So, now in epigeel, I think it's epigeel that brings out the seed. I'll be the cotyledon. Hello? I don't know if you've ever seen a plant growing and it has something like this by the side. It is the first green leaf-like structure that you observe. In dicots, there are 2 of them side by. Okay. Now, whenever you get a dicot, you can split that dicot. There is a room for what? Splitting. But whenever you get a monocot, there is no room for what? Splitting. This is just one good example. I'm talking about their seeds. So, if you get the seed of a groundnut, you can split it. By seed of a pear, you can split it. Abi, seed of any dicot, observe, you can what? Split it. Whenever that seed wants to grow, it's going to do a little adjustment in between, and then it will start growing from the middle. I don't know if you observed it. I don't know how else to explain this, but that is just basically what I want to explain. Now, if you come to the situation, if you come orange, you can split orange. Oh. Have you not tried? You can split orange seed. Yes, now. You can split orange seed. Yeah, it looks unsplittable, but I've splitted it severally. So, but if you look at that of corn, how can you split corn zone? If you look at that of palm kernel, how can you split it? Eh? Is there any way to split it into two equal parts? No. You say? No, now. If you get coconut, is there any way you split it into two equal parts the way you split your groundnut? No. Yes, now because mango is a dicot. Yes, it's monocot that you can't split. Even though some monocots, some dicots may look as if it's not splittable, but with more force or something, you would split it. But dicot, monocot, sorry, you can never, unless you do it using measurement, you can never split it into two equal parts. Yes, now that is why it's a dicot. So we've established that monocots have what? One seed leaf. Why dicots have two seed leaves. Now, let's continue. Another characteristic of this monocot is that whenever it is flowering, the flowers are always in threes or multiples of threes. It's either the flower is 3, or the flower is 6, or the flower is 9. Thank you. In that multiple. Yes. It's a characteristic of this organism here. But when you come to that of dicots, dicots bear their flowers in multiples of, okay, they bear it in 4s, 5s, and multiples of 4s and 5s. Are we there? Yes. For monocot is 3 and multiples of 3. But for dicot is 4s, 5s, and multiples of 4s and what? 5s. So that is how they bear their flowers. Now some of you will say that you've never seen your orange bear flowers. Shay? You have. Thank you. So some of you will also say you've never seen your corn bear flower, or whatever plant it is that is under this spermatophyta does what? Bears flower. So they are flowering except this one. So but angiosperma are flowering what? Plants. Angiosperms are flowering plants. So, and we see how they bear their flowers and the difference between monocots flowering and dicots flowering. Now, another character of this monocot is that they do not undergo secondary growth. Monocots do not undergo what? Secondary growth. But dicots undergo secondary growth. Now, what do you mean by secondary growth? For the fact that corn can never grow to be as tall and as big as maybe an obeche or any other large tree that you can think about. So, once it's done growing, the cambium does not expand any further. That is what we mean by secondary growth. Because secondary growth, please take note, occurs in the cambium. It's a part of the plant. Cambium is a part of the plant. So, in that of monocot, it does not expand the more once it's done growing. But that of dicot keeps expanding. That is why as days go by, dicots become bigger than they were. They never cease growing. Impossible. If you get to a tree that has a very large width, experiment this. Tie something around that tree, maybe something like a rope, and give it 10 years intervals. You see that that rope will seem to have gone inside that tree. Why? Because the tree keeps expanding. Are we there? If you get to a tree like, there's one I have seen, this wire gaze. This wire that is used for gating or something, they used it and then they planted. That was this what is that plant called again? That is used for malaria medicine. There's an English name now. There's an English name. Neem plant. Yeah. Neem plant. So that plant was actually situated close to that wire gauze. And after many years of the plant growing, it passed through the wire gauze. Like, let's say it was going like this. I need a marker to illustrate this. Okay. You are still feeling. So let's say it was growing this way. And mistakenly, the thing now went into one of the holes. In that wire gauze. Now, it continued growing like that. And at a point, it started expanding. So as the thing was expanding, it adjusts itself towards get through whatever it wants to pass through. So at a point, part of that wire gauze had to become part of the plant. And today the plant is very big. And you cannot remove the wire again because it's inside the plant. Are we there? So it is as a result of what? Secondary thickening. Go and do it to a plant like corn. And you see that corn die. The corn will just die. Once the corn gets to that size that the wire won't allow it to grow again, the corn will just die. Or maybe it will now be stunted. That will be the maximum growth that you see there. But if you do it to plants, is it pawpaw? Pawpaw grows tall now. Pawpaw will still do it. It's just that pawpaw grows straight. You rarely see. Okay, there are some I've seen. No, there are some I've seen that do not have straight. And please, who can tell us the reason why plants or some plants don't grow straight? Sunlight. Thank you. Sunlight is a major factor. So a major factor is what? Sunlight. So plants tend to bend towards the what? Source of light. Now, it does not just happen. It happens with the effect or under the effect of a hormone we call auxin. So it is in control or controlled by this hormone in plant. Now, whenever a plant is growing, let's say this is a plant that is just growing, and then at a point you came and you obstructed this area so that light can no longer flow from here. So the only direction of light that it has becomes here. Let's say you also cover this area. Now, illumination is going to be coming from this side, Abi. So now, this plant produces this hormone at the shoot. That is at the shoot, which is the tip. At the tip, we can say apex, which is the tip of the shoot and the tip of the what? The root. Hello? Now, for the shoot, excess auxin inhibits growth. Now, light is coming from this direction. And in this part of the plant, let's say this is the plant. This part of the plant now receives more sunlight compared to what? This part. Are we getting it? So now, this part will now tend to grow faster than this other part. Are we there? Hello? These are two parts of a plant now. Shebi? So, this part is the part facing this side. She? And light is coming from here. Abi? Now, this part is obstructed so that light cannot come from this angle. Now, when light is coming from only this angle, it's striking this place, and this place is more shady. That is, less light reaches this area. Now, it now triggers that plant to produce more auxins here and less here. So it triggers it to produce more here and less here, thereby causing this place to what? Grow faster than this place. It's just like two lines. It's just like two lines. Now, the two lines must keep moving together. Hello? You can do this by your own self on your book. The two lines must keep moving together. But at a point, this line now became faster in movement than this other line. They are still moving together, but this one is now faster. And this one cannot go without this one because there is a link. Remember, it's one plant. So since this part now is growing faster than this other plant, let's say this is the half that this one completely controls. Now this half is growing. This one is dulling. So it will now tend to cause a curve. Please, who understands what I'm explaining? It will now tend to cause what? A curve. Now that curve will now seem or will now be in direction of the what? The sun or the light. So that is why you see that whenever plants seem not to have enough sunlight, they will tend to what? Move towards the source of sunlight by making the less illuminated side of the plant towards produce more auxins and to grow faster than the illuminated part so that it will reposition itself towards the source of light. So it's just a mechanism. I don't think you will see it in your question. They will only ask you maybe which of this is a major factor for the bending of plants. No, now auxin is one of it too, effects of hormones, but the major factor is sunlight. Yeah, so it's sunlight that triggers that hormone to respond. Without that stimuli, which is the sun, it will not happen, whether the hormone is there or not. So now, having mentioned that, another key difference. All right. Yeah. Okay. No, 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 no. It's just like any other plant, eh? That used to what grow branches. I don't know if you get. Now, if you check out, there are some corns safe. Even though that one, like mostly, is caused by artificial, like use of hormones in plants. So mostly corn grows straight. But if you make use of gibberellin, is a plant hormone. If you apply it on that corn, it can what? Just like you have the corn growing, and then you have the leaf, and it will keep growing, and then you have the leaf. Now in between, this is the node. Eh? This is the node. So now at that node, there is what we call axial bud. There is what we call axial bud. Eh? That is the bud between the or in the node. So now that bud remains suppressed, like it cannot grow because of the presence of this auxin. Is one of the functions. We are not doing the hormone yet. I will explain it in detail when we start doing it. So, but in case of pawpaw, it's more like other plants that grow branches. So it depends on the genetic makeup of that pawpaw that you're planting. Because there's a pawpaw that what whenever you plant the seed, eh, the product must have branching. Why there are some that just grow straight. But pawpaw has broad leaves and also have a taproot system. So pawpaw is a what? Is a dicot. Yeah. So that is it. But now, can you split the seed of pawpaw? Eh? Can you? No, now. You can't. So something that we'll have to take note of in this classification is that these things I gave you now are general what characters of organisms that find themselves under this or under this. Just like a mango plant, it tends to have a what? A narrow leaf. But it has taproot system now. You can spread the seed, abi. What else? It undergoes secondary thickening. So you see that it has more characteristics of dicot than that single that seems to be monocot-like. So it becomes a what? A dicot. Are we there? Hello? Alright. Now, I want to see if you can find other characteristics of this dicot and monocot as well. So, I'm looking at a maize plant and I'm trying to analyze other differences. Can you mention the ones I've listed? The characteristics of monocots that I've mentioned. They have one seed leaf. They have fibrous system. That is the flower now. Thickening. Alright. So now monocots have scattered or should I say the xylem Phloem. I'm trying to go into the internal, but I think I have to leave it. We'll talk more about it when we start dealing with structure of plants. Because if you check the structure of a monocot and the structure of a dicot, there is very much difference. I don't know if you are getting it. I'm talking about the internal structure. So you see that the vascular bundles in that of monocot is scattered, while that of dicot is a kind of arranged in a ring form. So I think we'll go into details when we start touching the internal structures of this plant. Alright, having mentioned that, we know examples of monocots now. Shea, your corn, your palm, your onion. Yes, onion, garlic, because they have fibrous roots. But please, if you have opportunity of mentioning others, go for them. So, but yeah, she's correct. They have fibrous root system. Alright, now for dicots, we have examples of dicots now. So we can move on, right? Hello. Now we are moving up to the next kingdom, which is kingdom what? Animalia. Whenever I hear of kingdom Animalia, you know that many of these or more organisms that occur under this are invisible to the human eyes. Yes, they are invisible to the human eyes. Many of them are microscopical. Yes, as well as many are what? Macroscopic. We know the difference now, micro and macro. Micro is small, macro is what? Big. Now, this is further splitted into, I think, nine phyla. So, the first one is what? There's one we have before called Enterata. That is Porifera, yeah. So the first one is Porifera. So the second one is what? Please check the spelling of these things. Huh? Where? There is E here. Then there's no E here. Thank you. So number 3 should be what? Platyhelminths. This one is, which one is TH? This PL. TY. Stop confusing me now. Why are you guys confusing me? So this PLA. Where do you mean? Where? M. I don't know if this is CH. Sorry. So where is the correction? I should remove what? Where? Here. But this one is meant to be here, Abi. You guys are whining me. Oh. It's okay, Usha. It's my fault. So the next one is nematode, Abi. Then after nematode is what? Eh? Is what? It can be arthropoda. After nemapoda is annelida. Then after annelida, you now have arthropoda. Yes, now arthropods are more advanced than annelids. So we are arranging it based on their advancement. Like this one is more primitive than this one. Eh? You see? Vertebrate. Vertebrate is it's just like hello. How many of us are following? Eh? This thing is under this kingdom now. Yes. It's classification. So we are arranging this thing based on their advancement levels. The first one is porifera. Then this colenterata, platyhelminthes, nematoda, annelida. Then we have arthropoda. Then after arthropoda, we should be having yes, mollusca is before this. Sorry. So number 7 is arthropoda. And then you have number 8 to be so I think the next is vertebrata. Abi? Echinodemata, yeah. Echinodemata. It's okay. It's under invertebrate, yeah. Arachnida. Arachnida is under this arthropoda now. It's under arthropoda. So please check out the spelling of these things, even though you'll be using the spelling. It's a CBT exam. But for those writing WAEC, your spelling can either make you or what mar you. Yeah. So even if it's a single letter that you missed out, if you use the plural instead of the singular, if you use singular instead of plural, you're what? You're failing. So you have to be careful with this. And the next one is vertebrate. It's under vertebrate. So all these things are under invertebrate. So please, clearly, this kingdom Animalia has two types or two classifications, which is the vertebrata and what? Invertebrata. That is the vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates are those ones that have what? Backbone. While invertebrates do not have what? backbone, so it's obvious. Now, porifera is the most primitive. It is the most primitive phyla of this kingdom. Animalia. Now, characteristics of this particular phylum. The characteristic is that one, it is unicellular. Okay? Yeah, it fits heterotrophically. This particular one, porifera. It has three. Change it. That was a mistake. Sorry, it does not even, it doesn't have. It's true. It doesn't have. It doesn't have. Hmm? I'm coming. I will tell you. So, under this phylum, they are unicellular. Have you written that? They are microscopic. That's the second thing. So, their larval stage is motile, while their adult stage is what? Is non-motile. So, it means that when they are small, they are what? They can move around inside water. Please, they only live in aquatic medium. Take note. So inside water, they are motile. That is, they can move around when they are small. But once they grow, they have to what? Attach themselves to rocks, which means they become sedentary. Are we there? They become sedentary. Hello? So when they are small, they can move about. Take note. But when they grow, they attach themselves to rocks and become sedentary. So example of this organism is sponges. Not SpongeBob, oh. Sponges. It's not living under the, okay, it's living under the water, she, but not inside a pineapple tree now. Chevy? So, another thing is that it feeds heterotrophically. It cannot photosynthesize. So, it has to search for its own food and eat. So, it cannot produce its own food by itself. Porifera. Alright. Now, they have only one body opening. They have only one body opening, which means that they eat and ingest their waste product from one opening. No. As their eating is entering their body, and then the waste to now go out. The same thing happens with bats now. You don't know? Bat. How many of you want to be Batman? So, the same thing happens with bats. I think bat is one of the controversial animals that we know. It's a mammal that has wings. Can you imagine? And it's also a mammal that has, okay, it's basically wings. It's arboreal in habitation. Yeah. It mostly lives on trees. Yeah, it lives on trees. So, now another characteristic of this phylum is please leave one or two lines for this. There's something I want to recall. Then I'll add it to this one. Then move over to this one, Colenterata. Move over to this next one, Colenterata. So, organisms under this phylum. Alright. Organisms under this phylum have what we call nematocysts. They have what we call nematocysts, which is used for offense and defense. So they use it to provoke and they use it to what? Defend themselves, just like cows. Those their horns. They use it to either provoke and also what? Defend. If you've seen two buffaloes fight in Nigeria, you understand what I mean. So that is it for Colenterata. Also, Colenteratals have only one opening. Are we there? They have only one opening. So now, we've mentioned their opening. Example of organisms that you see under this is Hydra. Hydra is one. Jellyfish. No. Octopus is under this one. Yeah, you have corals. So those are the three that I've seen. No. Not like I've seen them live. Do you know some people eat jellyfish? Eh? Have you eaten it? But you've seen it. Yes, now. And there is this, should I call it fallacy? I'm not sure. My friend told me that jellyfish cannot die until they kill it. That is how the life is. They can stay for years. The same thing happens with tortoise. Even though tortoise just have a long lifespan, but it can still die. So one of the oldest animals you hear of is what? Tortoise. I don't know why honestly. This what do they call it? There is this species of it that lives in water, turtle. So turtle as well, they have this same similar structure, but they have different adaptations. So one is adapted for terrestrial living, while the other one is adapted for aquatic living. So now, these organisms under this phylum also have what we call two body layers, which means that they are what? Diploblastic. So your exam will ask you which of these organisms can be referred as diploblastic. You say, hey, Jesus. Blood of Jesus. Please, look at it now. Diploblastic basically means having two body layers. So, Hydra being under this has two body layers. The same thing with jellyfish, corals, and the rest of them that fall under Colenterata. So now another character that they possess, yes, they produce asexually, or let's say Hydra produces asexually by budding. budding. It's not budding, no. It's budding. So, budding basically means that it produces its offspring from a part of itself. It's just like, God forbid, I get pregnant tomorrow. And then I'm producing my offspring from here. So, as I walk, you're like, baby, hi. And the baby is just like, because it's still growing now. Yes, it will be showing. Not human beings, so I'm talking about this. Jesus. This is not a movie now. It's what you see in movies. It doesn't happen in real life. But it happens in this phylum. Like Hydra. Seahorse. Yay. Wait, is seahorse real? Eh? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know seahorse is real. I thought it's one of these unicorn stuff. Eh? Yes, I watched Najwa. I've never seen any documentary of seahorse. I used to watch it very well. Snakes in the City, Dr. Pooh, name them. The world's most deadliest animals. Very, very, very. So I should not do any other thing. So I don't know. You can find out. Have you ever seen seahorse? Okay, you've seen it on TikTok. I don't used to watch TikTok. Oh. So if you can research on it, but if you check for that of Hydra, Hydra actually exhibits that character. Like they bear their offspring by their side or something. And then when it grows to a point that it has matured, it can now fend for itself. It will now fall off. Then the mother will now be free. Yes, now. Eh? Then the mother will now be free. The mother will not remain entitled to take, and they don't take care of their offspring. So you see how big give birth. Once they give birth to you, eh? How many months? You go and ask Hydra now. I will write the number at the end of this class, so you call and ask him. So, having mentioned that, remember it's called body, no, so that you not leave the main thing. It's called body. Organisms under this also have, okay, they exhibit what we call hermaphroditism. Organisms under this exhibit hermaphroditism. So we can say that they are hermaphrodites, which basically means that they have both the male and female sex organ in one individual. So they just mate within themselves and give birth. They don't need anybody. Hello? Yes, now one person. But they are not located at the same place, so they are located at different places. And the sex organ is regarded as ovotestis. So that is what the sex organ is regarded as. So whenever you hear that an organism is hermaphroditic or that the organism is a hermaphrodite, then it means that the organism meets or has two sex organs in one. That is the male and the what? Female. Thank you. So the same thing happens in this one, Platyhelminthes. Please, I don't think I gave you all the characteristics of this colenterata. They have tentacles. Yeah, they have tentacles. For this colenterata, they have tentacles. If you check out Hydra, the structure of Hydra, it has something like this octopus stuff. Octopus has tentacles, so you know. Yeah. At least some of you have watched, what's that movie again? There was this invasion movie. That one big octopus came out. So, I can't recall. It's been long. So, Hydra has tentacles. And the tentacles is what it uses to feed its self. So they use it to grasp whatever they want to eat, and then they'll now put it inside the mouth. After eating, digesting, they'll now vomit the waste. So that is why they have one opening. Yeah. And the mouth leads into a structure called enteron. Please refer to your textbook so that you will get more, because I can't remember everything fully and I can't tell you everything definitely. So it leads you into a structure called enteron. Yeah. So having mentioned that about collaterata, I don't know any other thing I've not mentioned though. Yes, thank you. They have radial symmetry. Now, whenever they tell you that an organism has radial symmetry, it basically means that you can cut through that organism from anywhere. Yes. Just like if I bring, there's this cartoon, forgive me, oh, I watched too much cartoon when I was growing. So there's this cartoon of this organism. Mm? The thing is just round. The thing is just round, eh? Is the one I watched is monsters. So now you can cut through that thing, eh? Through anywhere, and you will still get two equal halves. Like, if it's not exactly equal, it will be very similar. I don't know if you are getting it. So that is what we call radial symmetry. Hmm? No, that is not what I'm talking about. For this one, we are not here. That one you're talking of is what we mentioned when we are here. Either under this protista, that is under amoeba. The way they eat. Eh? The way amoeba eats is by engulfing. So whatever they want to eat, if it's here, amoeba will just bump into it and absorb it. It will now digest it and then absorb the nutrients and give out the waste. So, having number 2, this one, colenterata. So please, we have said a lot about this radial symmetry, meaning that you can cut through it in any plane to give you two similar halves. That is what it basically means. But we human beings are bilaterally symmetrical. Please check out this, so cross check the spelling of this. I meant writing bilaterally symmetrical. It's only one L. Thank you. So that is it for we human beings and for organisms ranging from nematodes. From nematodes down is bilaterally symmetrical. Think platyhelminths is still radial. So we are done with this, so we want to move into this. Under this you find tapeworm. Which other one? No, earthworm is not under it. Liver fluke. Trying to think bilateral symmetry started from this one. No. It's just this one that is radial. This one is bilaterally symmetrical. So bilateral symmetry started from platyhelminths. to this one, and then to the rest. But this one is radially symmetrical. I already explained it now. You can cut through it in any plane to have two similar halves. But bilateral, if you cut me, you can only have two equal halves if you cut me from here. If you cut me from here, then you will not have two equal halves. Why? Two equal halves means that for each organ, at least the ones that are visible, you have one in, at least in each of them. You have one. If you cut me from here, you have hand here, you have hand here. Abi, you have leg here, and you have leg here. But if you cut me from here, then it's not going to make sense now. She, there will not be eye here, because one will be the back. So that's what we basically mean by bilateral symmetry. But when it comes to radial symmetry, anywhere you want to cut it from, you must have equivalent body parts in each of them. Enteron. Enteron is the structure located inside the opening of organisms that are under this phylum. Enteron. As you're going into the mouth of a hydra, you are going straight into the enteron. It's more like a body cavity. Just understand it at this point. It's just like you are taking food now. Now that food is going to where? It will go through your what? Your esophagus, and then it will head into what? Your stomach. And so that is just basically what the enteron serves as. So it's their internal structure. Then from there, their digestion will now start occurring and absorption. Then, so platyhelminthes, organisms under this phylum, actually, one is that they have bilateral symmetry. And you know the funny part, their nervous system is advanced, or they have organized nervous system, as well as excretory and respiratory. No, for respiratory, they don't have that advanced respiratory system. So their respiratory system is their skin, the surface, the body surface. So just like in the others, please, in these two organisms, Porifera, Colenterata, platyhelminthes, as well as in Nematoda, Annelida, did you see the ones I mentioned? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They respire from their what? Body surface. That is, there is exchange of gases through their what? Body surfaces. But you cannot do it too. In case you close your nose and start frog. Yeah, frog can do it. But in frog, you call it it's cutaneous. Yeah. It's cutaneous means of respiration. That is, they can use their mouth, they can use their nose, and they can also use their skin. So, it's a special animal, imagine. So, if you close the nose of a frog, you are wasting your time. If you close the mouth, you know if you kill them. It will just start absorbing what gases through the skin. So the best way to kill it is by, we cannot do it now because we have specialized structures for respiration. Like if you absorb oxygen now through your skin, where is the oxygen going to go? Where the oxygen go? Will it now go through your body to now get to the lungs? And then at the lungs, it's now, so it's not making sense. And besides, your body is not always wet. Because we know that every organ of respiration has to be moisturized. Are we aware? Hello? For it to be able to respire with a part of your body, it has to be moisturized. because gases dissolve. Hmm? That is, they diffuse in and diffuse out. That is why you have the lungs. Your nose is moisturized though. If you like, touch it and check. If the outer part is not moisturized, the inner part is what? Moisturized. So what happens is that when you breathe in, the air that you breathe in is moisturized. Even if it's dry air, like in Harmattan season, if you breathe in and that air is dry, it will absorb the moisture in your nose and then enter inside. So your nose will become dry. And if the air enters dry, that is, maybe it's done drying the moisture in your nose and it now begins to go in dry. That is when some of you will now start being like, I don't know if you feel it, breathing in dry air is uncomfortable. Eh? Yeah, breathing in dry air is very much uncomfortable. And I think something made me talk about nutrition the other time. That's why I told you that when you're breathing out, there are two things you observe in the air you're breathing out. It is warm and it is also moisturized, because it's diffused out of a moisturized surface. And one of the products of respiration is water. You have water and energy. So, but we are not in details in that, so we'll come to that later. So I was answering the question someone asked me that question. Someone asked me this question now. Okay, you were the one that asked me the question. Alright, so these organisms, as I mentioned them, respire through their body surface. So another thing that you must take note about this is that some are parasitic in nature, while some are what? Free living. So examples of parasitic members of this phylum is what? Tapeworm. You have liver fluke. But planaria is free living. Planaria is a member of this phylum. But planaria is what? Free living. So that is it for this phylum. Okay? Now, yeah, they're also hermaphroditic. In a tapeworm, keep making noise. Yeah? You have all the time in heaven and on earth. So in a tapeworm, you have the male. In fact, tapeworm gets excess sex cells, or should I say sex organs. In a tapeworm, depending on the length too, each segment has a male and a female sex organ. Eh? That is now. As small as it is, each segment has a male. As long as it's fully developed, each segment has a male and a female sex organ. That is why, if you check out the life cycle of a tapeworm, of which we will be handling, the life cycle of a tapeworm will show you that when a tapeworm is fully mature, remember the smallest part of a tapeworm is the head. It's largest at the tail and smallest at the head. So once that tail is fully advanced or developed, it will now cut. It will split. So like it will detach itself from the main tapeworm, the main organism, and then it will fall off. Maybe the organism will now defecate it or something, but pass it out. So when it passes it out, then animals like pigs and cattle. You know the botanical name of tapeworm now? No, it's a very rampant something. One thing with me is my spelling, no. So you cross check it. So I don't know if there's an A at the end. You have Tenia solium. Before I enter any exam, I used to cross check all the spellings of everything I want to go and write inside. And after exam, I used to forget. So Tenia solium and Tenia saginata. So these are two species of tapeworm. These are two species of tapeworm. So Tenia solium is mostly found in what? Pigs. For those of you like pomo, pomo is either from pig or what? Cow. Some are from goats, so she. But pork is majorly pig. Pork is pig, she. Pork is pig. Pork is pig. Did you know? Pork meat. She used to eat pork meat. You don't eat pork meat. Why? I hate that thing they sell along the roadside. That thing has high tendency of being infested by tapeworm. Why? Because for you to be able to kill tapeworm, okay, let's just progress. When we get to that part, I will explain it. Now, there are two types. This Tenia solium and Tenia saginata. It's very rampant. I thought you would know it. Even in agric, you see it. Biology, animal husbandry, for those that do animal husbandry. So, now this tapeworm, we are the primary hosts. Shebi? Abu, we are the primary hosts now. Why the secondary host is the pig and the cow? She? Hello? Please let I look at, there's a diagram for it, but you know that we cannot draw the diagram here. In human beings, the both of them. Yes, but I think biologically this one cannot survive in a cow and this one cannot survive in a pig. So they only bear it and become carriers when they eat the species that suits their body. That is why you cannot hear that maybe chicken has tapeworm. Yes, now. Yes, that's why you can't hear that chicken has. Chicken used to have this, what do they call it? Maybe hookworm. There was a time we killed a fowl and there was this thing that was alive inside. I was shocked. And there were plenty of them. Oh. I was like, Jesus. And the point is that these things really, like, they are more like marrow. Do you know marrow? Or should I say vein, aquara? If you want to choke it, the thing will just shift to the side. You just touch the floor. Like, for you to kill the organism itself, is it that you use hot water or you just shoot hot coal on it so that you just kill it? So now, when we human beings that are infested with tapeworm pass out feces, and these animals like pigs and cows pick up maybe their food gets mixed up with an infected excreta. Hello? Now when they eat it, that tapeworm, I don't know how to start drawing the structure here, but I'll just give you a primary school drawing. Please go to your textbooks. So this is the segment. I already told you. You don't expect me to draw. I can't draw. Even though I can draw if it's an exam. But that is after preparing, no. But after exam, forget it. I'm forgetting it all. So now, look at this tapeworm. This is the head. This is the head of the tapeworm. And this one is the tail. It's longer than this. It's far much longer than this, but I'm just cutting it this short to explain something. Now, let's say this is where the tail ended. Then this should be the most matured part of the what? Tapeworm. Are we there? So now, when it is mature enough, it will now disintegrate or detach itself from this parent worm. Then this one will now come out like this. So once it comes out, it will now remain that way. The main tapeworm is inside. Do we understand? You know, the smallest or the tiniest, should I say the primary stage of a living organism is all called the zygote. So the zygote is enclosed inside this. Remember, these dots I put are the male and the female sex organs. So there is an internal mating that occurs here so that this becomes fertilized and it has a zygote inside. So the outer thing that covers it is just a covering for protection because of maybe inconducive environment. Hello? When the environment is not conducive for it to develop, then it will remain inside that covering. Now, when pigs or cows take in the species suitable to them, then the environment for this will change. Why? Because it's moving from the surrounding that it was in to an internal organ. Hello? So the digestive system of that cow or the pig is going to try to digest that what? Tapeworm. Are we there? So now it's going to successfully digest the outer covering. Do we understand? So it can digest the outer covering, but once it is done digesting it, the one inside will now come up. Or juicy. No, I know they go anywhere. I can't be digested. Have you ever prayed that prayer? You pray until you start going to Zambisa forest, where you know that you meet animals that can use you for food. So now, tapeworm cannot be digested by the digestive system of cows and pigs. The only thing that can be digested is the outer covering. And that digestion of the outer covering frees them. Like, it is what makes them become free. So once they now come out as free men, they will now look for a blood vessel and what? Attach themselves. Mostly they don't attach to a blood vessel, they attach themselves to the small intestine. Is the intestine a blood vessel? No. But does blood vessel pass through the small intestine? Yes. Hello? Are we there? Now you know that how your body transports food is through the bloodstream. Are you aware? Yes. Alright. Now, the tapeworm now goes to the small intestine of that animal and begins to develop. Now, it develops to a point that it now gets stored in the muscles of that animal. Remember, this is the secondary host. So, are we there? This is the secondary host. So the tapeworm is basically not looking for a way to, not like it doesn't affect them. Do you understand? But it does not affect them as much as it affects us. Why? Because when it gets to a particular stage in the life cycle, it will now just move to the muscle of that animal and get attached to the muscle and just remain there. At this point, we now call it bladder worm. So now, when your father now bring out the cow, now call outside people, they are now like, ooh, and they now kill the cow. Eh? I don't know how many people still kill cow today. Because you should have like 1 point to buy a cow. But before now, 100 and something K can kill a cow. So you just kill a cow and you enjoy it. But now, when they kill that cow, they now start dissecting it. And maybe you hustle the fleshy parts of the cow, which is part of the muscle. Are we there? Every part of the body of an animal has muscle. Any part that animal can move by itself has what? Muscles. Are we there? When you are small, you say, show me your muscle. You now put something like this. I bet grow. So your muscle is not just here, but anywhere that you can move. Are we there? So you have muscles all over your body, except your internal organs, that function involuntarily. Like your brain. Your brain does not have muscles. If your brain have muscles, say hi. Your brain is to do press up. You see? You have to exercise your brain. Exercising your brain is by doing things that are very critical. Things that are... It doesn't mean that your brain has muscles. That is why scientists believe that even if you don't eat for years, Jesus. Please, if you don't eat for up to 3, I think maximum that a human being can survive without food, but with water is 2 months and estimately 3 months. Yes, now, yeah. You know that, yes, now, but as long as you're taking water, don't go and do it so that you don't die. That is why Jesus did fasting for 40 days. It's 40 days, not more than 1 month. It's more than 1 month now. But he did not die. Does not mean you will not die. Some of you, if you fast for just 1 week, before then you will what? You will die. I will come and eat rice. That is the most important part of burial. And now, burial is for the living. Let them not deceive you. Apart from the part that we have to dispose the body so that it will not chase us away from where we are living. Burial is for the living. Like, I've seen a burial where a man that married a woman without paying the bride price. When the woman now died, that was when the man now came to pay the bride price. Banco did wedding, like did bobo tibo. For somebody that is dead though, who are the people eating? Umada came. Umada charged their ewu. Umuna charged their own. Like, the man had to get a seek support to finish up everything, just to be able to bury that woman, because they insisted if you don't do everything, you no fit bury am. So burial is for the living. Aside that, I know that in biology, this issue of burial is basically what we call nutrient cycling. Hello? Energy. Okay, there's this theory that goes this way, that energy can neither be created nor what? Destroyed, but can be converted from one form to the what? Other. So the you that we are seeing today is a form of energy. So you are an energy. And if something happens to you tomorrow, that will have to come and eat rice, then basically your energy will have to convert back towards what we know to be maybe nitrogen, alcohol, water, and the rest of it. That's when someone starts decomposing. You know that almost everywhere on earth has had a dead organism or person or animal. the earth has been dated to be up to 2,000 years. Even biblically said, the earth is up to 2,000. Even though scientists believe that the earth is millions of years old because of their evolution theory, which you basically do and you have to believe it whether you like it or not. Eh? Inside mortuary box. The person will still come out from mortuary box and enter ground now. Eh? That is what I'm saying. This 2,000 that we are counting with is a biblical record. Do you understand? Now, it's as a result of civilization and this. They say Nigeria was what? Under a colonial rule, abi? Now, I think the calendar belonged to the Roman Empire. I don't know how the whole thing came to be, but why is it that we know that today is Monday, or today is Tuesday, or that today is 17th, or that today is 2000 and whatever you call it? It's because maybe an empire started using it or something, or adopted it, or with the use of records of years past. Like some years, when they want to say them or mention them, they will use A, that is after death, AD, BC, Abi. So these are biblical words, records, not just biblical records, some other records that have survived the test of time. There are ancient records in different places that we can use to trace the reason why we are in 2025. And I think currently there is a country, an uncivilized, let's not say uncivilized, but the country was not ruled by a colonial master. So they are still in 2017 using their own record. Davido attended their Happy New Year now. For those of you that are current, you should have heard it. They celebrated New Year, I think months ago. And their New Year was in around our March, April. And their New Year was 2017. So in their record, they are not yet into 2018. But we are. So that is for the age of the earth and the age we are using. But that is not what we're talking about. When the worm is detached from the tail, then it's maybe, yes, now it goes through the excreta. Do you get, like when the animal defecate? No, when we defecate, it's not found in that of the animals. It's found mostly in the muscles of the animals. So we get infected when we eat animals that are not well cooked. Those animals that are not well cooked, when we eat them, then our digestive tract tries to digest that tapeworm, but it is not possible to digest the tapeworm itself because it has strong resistance. So you can only digest the outer covering. When you are done digesting the outer covering, then the tapeworm emerges. When the tapeworm emerges, it will now flow down to your small intestine. Please, why is it that tapeworm likes being in the small intestine? Because that is where nutrient concentration is the what? Highest. Are we there? Nutrient concentration is highest in your what? Small intestine. If you go through the digestive tract of man, you go from the mouth to the what? Esophagus. From the esophagus to the stomach, stomach to duodenum, duodenum to what? Small intestine. So from small intestine, I move to the what? Large intestine. And whatever enters large intestine is now the what? The waste. So the large intestine terminates at the what? Anus. So now, the small intestine, digestion occurs from the mouth for some food particles, like starch, name them, carbohydrates. Basically, their digestion starts from the mouth. But digestion of protein, please take note, starts from the what? Stomach. Digestion of protein starts from the stomach. So protein is digested by an enzyme called pepsin. There's amylase. Yeah, pepsin. So, but we're not talking about digestion yet. I just want to mention it as regards to this tapeworm. So now, when that tapeworm, the covering is digested, it attaches itself to the small intestine, and it does this with the aid of what we call the hooks and the what? The suckers. So the hooks, the head of the tapeworm, please bear with me, my diagram is somehow like this. Then you have something like this, and then you have something more like a crown. Go to your textbook, you see the correct diagram, or browse it. So now, this is the hook, or these are the hooks, and then you have the suckers. So they attach themselves to the walls of the small intestine with the aid of the hooks and suckers. Please, one core difference between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata is that Taenia solium has both hooks and suckers, while Taenia saginata does not have hooks. So this is the core difference between this and this. You don't understand? Time. You're tired. Just wait now. It's not. Wait. Just give me a minute. Let me summarize. Now, when it attaches itself to the walls of the intestine, please take note. Tapeworm does not have a digestive system. Tapeworm lacks digestive what? Tract. Do we get? So tapeworm depends on the host, and human beings are the what? Hosts. So if there's anything such as chief host, it's also we human beings. And how do we get infected? When you see a woman carrying, sorry, I'm not trying to spoil market for them, but I'm trying to tell you so that as you are eating the tapeworm, you'll be happy eating it. So you just see a girl carrying a bucket of beef with red pepper, and you're like, nah, can we go do a bit of enjoyment? And then you now use toothpick, you now start taking. The fact is that most, in fact 99 point something percent of the pork you take in that manner are not well cooked. So the probability of them having tapeworm is very, very high. Then, for those of you that will go to where, maybe along the roadside, someone is roasting, something like, maybe chicken, or maybe, for that of chicken, I'm not saying that you stand a risk of being infected with tapeworm, but for that of chicken, you stand the risk of being infected with cholera. Yes, cholera, name them. Those things are housefly, even polio, just that you've overgrown polio. So those things that housefly serve as a vector of, those disease causing agents, like the cholera, I think diphtheria, diarrhea. In fact, in health science, we call it food poisoning. So, as you're going to eat that chicken, as you're going to eat the beef that is being roasted along that roadside, maybe because it's pepperish or anything, or you like it, I'm not really trying to discourage you, but I want you to know what you are eating. So, as you're eating it, for beef and for pork, you are running risk on both sides. What are the risks? The risk is one, getting infected with what? Tapeworm. Because most of them are not well cooked. Yes. Then the second is that I have seen a place where flies were perching on it and the person was chasing it with broom. And then somebody came. I was like, Madam, cake is car. And the person was already testing. These are flies we are eating. And I was like, if it's where they are cutting it, let's say it's where they are cutting the meat that you want to buy, it's very, very, understandable that when you take it, you go home and wash it and then cook it very, very well. But this one is that it's more like they are spicing the thing. So as you're taking it, you're just enjoying the whole. So at the end, be like, nah, I wake up for shame himself. So, but some people's body system is used to it too. Yes, now, some people eat it every day. So I don't know, Sha. In Africa, we are well built. Does not mean that you should go and eat it. For me, I can never eat it. Because I will not get myself for 1 week. That will start having effects. Now, please look at this structure that I drew. For you to be highly infested with tapeworm, there is no magic that needs to occur. All we need is a single segment of tapeworm. So once you have this segment in you, then it begins to what? Reproduce. Hello? But the testimony is that in the process of producing or reproducing, it does not release segments like this that your body has to retain. Hello? Tapeworm. Look at this. Tapeworm in this form cannot survive in our own body. So it has to be passed out so that it will pass through a pig or a cow. And then we eat it back. But the funny thing is that when you're passing it out, you cannot pass only one. So you may pass out maybe around 20 segments or 30. And then when you pass it out, that pig or pork that you're eating, we barely contain only one. Most of them used to contain at least 10 words, bladder worms. So when you eat it, then you have 10 zygotes inside you. So the 10 now will start what? Reproducing. As time goes on, as you keep eating more, you keep having more. Cure is when you deworm yourself now. So I think at this juncture, we'll call it a date. So have a nice day.